Okay, welcome back. You basically have the market, which is down, 50 points. So we started, by the way, with a 50-point drop. Then there was a 50, 60-point recovery. And then there's another leg down, which has sort of come through after the initial couple of minutes of trade. I was talking about how market breadth is a little mixed today, but I think now it's kind of evened out. 1,150 stocks are higher and about 1,200 stocks are lower at this point in time. We have the management of Fortis HealthCare. As I said, it's a hospitals heavy day. So we had Yatharth Hospitals, Max Healthcare. Now we have Fortis Healthcare, which came out with numbers. We have Ashutosh Raghuvanshi, Managing Director and CEO of the company, with us to take some questions. Mr. Raghuvanshi, good morning. Good to have you with us here. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Hospitals have all been doing very well. And, your performance in FY24 indicates that top line went up about nearly 10% or so. So you're at about 6893 crores in revenues. Could you give us a broad outline? If you want to give a specific number, that'll be fantastic. What should we expect FY25 to bring in as far as top line revenues are concerned, sir?
So we expect a similar growth, a double-digit growth this year as well. And that would be basically led by both the volume growth as well as the ARPOB growth. We have a lot of capacity expansion, which we have done. We have added about 246 beds last year, and we are adding about close to 400 beds this year. We'll be creating a capacity of about 700, but we will be operationalizing about 400. So with all this, we expect to be at least in double-digit growth.
Double digit. And the total beds after all of this expansion, etc., where will this number be at, say, in the next 1 year?
In next year, we are adding 700 beds, but we are operationalizing about 400 of those within this year.
So operational beds would be how many total?
Total beds would be about 4,800 at that time.
Okay. Sir, I wanted your thoughts on margins as well, because the hospital business margins have seen a significant improvement to 21%. And in Q4, I think you hit about 22.4% as well. What led to this improvement, and what is the expectation for FY25?
Yeah, so the expectation was that we would have about 70% occupancy, which we did not achieve. We achieved about 67% occupancy. However, the growth in ARPOB was high, and that was a result of the case mix change. We did a lot of high-end surgeries. We did close to about 4,000 robotic procedures, for instance, in this year. The surgical volumes grew by about 8% year on year. And that led to a better performance for the year and certainly for this quarter as well. We expect this trend to continue. There was some one-off item here. So in the hospital side, I would say that the corrected EBITDA would be 21%, which is what we expected to close the year with. And we expect from here on, we would sustain it and better it as we go through this year.
So you were saying you'll sustain it at about this 21%, and perhaps you can even better it in FY25, correct?
That's right.
Okay, fair enough. There is a fear that some of the larger hospitals are seeing some plateauing in terms of volumes. You were talking about how you will see perhaps further volume growth, but you have incremental capex as well coming on board. Would that be a bit of a concern if the entire industry is seeing, slower growth or plateauing of volumes?
Not at all. I think the capacity which is available in India today is still deficient compared to what the requirements are. So whatever capex we are doing is for advancing the technology mainly and the brownfield expansions which we are doing. So we are doing brownfield expansions in hospitals where already the occupancy figures are above 70%. And in some of these hospitals, it's nearing 80%. So that capacity absorption will happen very easily. So that is not a concern. Even in the last year, we did a total of about 700 crores of capex. Majority of it was for upgradation of the medical infrastructure, and some of it for enhancing some of the capacities. But that will continue. That is not a concern at all in my view. there is always a seasonality in healthcare business. This plateauing stage currently should not be seen as a trend. This is only a sort of a localized phenomena which is there for a short while.
All right. Hi, sir. Good morning and good to see you in. Nigel on this side. Let's turn our attention to the diagnostics part of the business. Now, that's been a relative underperformer. If you could tell us why the growth is not as much as, say, some of your peer groups, and how do you see the trajectory going ahead? Do you expect double-digit growth even in this vertical? What about margins? Do you see a possibility that you could gradually move towards that 20% odd?
Certainly, to start with, we definitely have had a disappointing performance on our diagnostic side. The growth has been almost just 2%, which is hardly anything. And that is on because of multiple reasons. We had a lot of challenges. We had also changed the brand last year. All those things impacted our business as well. But we are seeing that the diagnostic industry is getting stabilized now and the competitive pressures are lessening. So we expect Agilus also to do well and have a volume growth. We're expecting about 9 to 10% growth at least. And that would come on basis of increasing our specialized test menu. We have a lot of focus on the genetic testing, for instance. And with all that, we expect to have a healthier growth this coming year. And we certainly expect to take the margin to about 20%.
Okay, all right. And margins to 20% in the coming year itself? That's FY25?
That's right.
All right. And the growth of 9 to 10%, that's the volume number, sir, or the revenue number?
Revenue number.
Okay. All right. Got that out of the way. And since we're talking about Agilus, is there any timeline with regard to the IPO? I was reading a couple of articles just 2 or 3 days ago which suggested that maybe the PEs could want to dilute some stakes. So that's why you could be looking at an IPO. Could you clarify on that front? And what are the timelines about their IPO?
Yeah, so as far as the PE stake in Agilus is concerned, we have all our options open. The IPO for now, we had withdrawn. However, we will look at all the options and take appropriate call in the due course. As you might be aware that we have a put option on us from the PEs for 31% stake in Agilus. And in case that is exercised, we are contractually obliged to buy that from the PE stake. And we believe that this business can further create values. It has been underperforming with some structural changes, etc. And little more concentrated effort. This can go to a next level. So we think that there's a lot of value in this. We will decide at the appropriate time and certainly let you know at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Raghuvanshi, that old saga of that IHH open offer, I think the matter is still sub judice. Could you give us an update? Where is that at? I mean, is there anything moving at all?
Yes, that is still sub judice. It is at the High Court level, and the issues we do not know when it will get resolved. But we are expecting that since the hearings are happening at a very good frequency, we should see some resolution happening from possibly by the end of the year.
Are you close to close to a point where the final arguments would be made, or it's still away? You're saying at least hearings are happening frequently. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
Yes. No, so what I was saying is that the hearings are happening very regularly and the final argument stage is coming there. So that's why we expect this to get resolved by the end of this year.
Okay. No, got that. Ms. Raghuvanshi, we'll leave it there. Good luck to you. Thank you very much for joining us and appreciate your time here on CNBCTv18. So good conversation with Fortis HealthCare. Markets recovered again. I mean, before with the Fortis conversation, Nifty was down 50-60 points. It's down 10 points now. So at lower levels, there is a bit of buoyancy, which is starting to appear once again. PSUs are doing very well. So Cochin Shipyard, Garden Reach, and so many others, Chennai Petro. I mean, these are some of the top volume-led gainers that we have at this point in time. Well, the markets, of course, also scaled to new highs. Nifty hit 23,000 early this morning.